Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we are worldwide on the iHeartRadio network, a listening platform of over 250 million people, one of the best platforms in the world. iHeartRadio, thank you so much for allowing us onto your program. And we won't let you down. Also, I want to say thank you to people tweeting out to Charlton and Big C Sports from all over the world. Big C, we have people down in Latin America, so bienvenidos. We're not going to build that wall if we have anything to do with it. And also, I want to thank you good old boys from London, England. We know that you love listening to Charlton and Big C Sports, as well as Berlin, Germany. Jesse Owens had a great outing there at the Olympics. And the great country of Canada, as well as Australia. Big C, we also have some tweets from Dubai and even Russia. It is ironic because people, they tweet from Russia that they listen to Charlton and Big C, so they need to know to put down the needles, Big C. Should they put the needles down, Big C?
To have the worldwide audience that we have, Charlton,
yeah,
shows that, everybody is into sports and, a lot of people are into the conversations that we have.
Yeah.
We're not just a streamlined score station, Charlton. We're an alert station. We're challenging your mind to be inquisitive about all of what's going on in the world, Charlton.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm always so appreciative of our female listeners also, Charlton, to show the intelligence that they have socially and sports-wise, Charlton, because they follow us daily with loyalty.
Yeah.
And that's what we're always trying to bring to the format, Charlton. It's something new, something intriguing, to make you say, anybody can see a score flash on the screen.
Yeah.
But can we intrigue and hold mind every day, Charlton, is what we try to do with our sports show.
Hey, Big C, I know you good old boys down south, as far as being intriguing, there's so much talk on college football right now, and we talk about this all the time. The NFL training camps, they're all going. In fact, we have a football game kicking off this weekend, the Hall of Fame game over in the great state of Ohio. But even bigger than that, it seems, and at least in California anyway, Big C, is this USC football game. They're getting ready to go knock off Alabama in the kickoff classic down in Jerry Jones country, the great state of Texas. And ironically, someone was saying that one of the coaches that used to coach at USC with Alabama, Lane Kiffin, actually faked his age, Big C. So is it the fact that you have to be a young person to coach at Alabama, so he had to fake his age for that, Big C? Is that what happened? Or was he drinking too much moonshine, Big C?
Well, I think Lane Kiffin as a head coach has learned how to coach down at Alabama. You think about the stints he had at USC. He went to the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah.
Back to USC, got fired. But since he's been at Alabama, Charlton, he's found some similar success that he had at USC under
Pete Carroll, the great Pete Carroll. The great Pete Carroll, yeah.
Pete Carroll, and so he's gone under Nick Saban's tutelage and he's found his place. And he's happy. He's been successful. We talk about the kickoff class. Well, the kickoff glass kick.
Yeah.
By the time USC walks out of there, maybe even crawl out of the seat. They'll find out what real football is. But when you think about that weekend as a whole, Charlton, that kickoff classic, you got LSU playing that weekend, you got Tennessee playing that weekend, you got A&M.
Yeah.
So the SEC is going to set the table as far as college football goes, the opening week of college football, Charlton. So that's really, when you look at those four games that those SEC teams are involved in, we may be seeing a prelude to the national championship early in the season, Charlton.
Well, ironically, UCLA, the great UCLA Bruins, are going down to take on Texas A&M at College Station. They're expecting over 120,000 fans at College Station, and most of them stand up, from what I understand, Big C. UCLA is going to be loaded. Yeah, is it College Station? Yeah, what's it called? The train station? Is that what you said?
Well, I thought you said it was going to be the train station road. All the UCLA fans. You don't have no planes out there in California.
No, that's not true. Well, they played that beautiful Rose Bowl, but if they have 120,000 fans in Texas, that's a great environment. UCLA should be in a tough game down there in the swamp and humidity. But also, I want to say that this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go down and test drive it, let them know that Charlton and Big C sent you. Now, Big C, I know that you mix Hollywood and athletics like the best of them. And I go back to when we started here with the Charlton and Big C Sports worldwide on our platform. And you always like to bring in the Hollywood angle. And I've seen a lot more of that when Chris Rock was at the Oscars and he was talking about opportunity and inclusion. And we know America is a great melting pot. But oftentimes, you just have to go make your own way. There's so many people that want to tell you what you cannot do until you do it, and then they want to get on the wagon train, Big C. Now, a great movie is Invictus, and I know you like that movie because of some of the actors in it. What are your thoughts on that great movie, Big C?
Well, the thing about Invictus, Charlton, is what we've talked about the past several weeks, social consciousnness.
Yeah.
And that's what Invictus brings to the table, Charlton. It's based on a true life story of the late, great Nelson Mandela, the first African South American president.
Yeah.
South African president.
South African president,
and, he was also co-starred in that movie with Matt Damon. If people recall Matt Damon, he has the new Bourne movie coming out.
Yeah.
But Nelson Mandela, in this movie, had to find a way to get rid of the racial divide in South Africa.
Yeah.
And it's what we talk about, and it's what our show is based on, Charlton, is about sports.
Yeah.
And he knew that there was a commonality with everybody's sports. And we've talked about that a lot on our show, and we hear it now everywhere nationally, where people are calling on black athletes to be social conscious.
Just the black ones, huh?
Make a difference.
Yeah, just the
Only
black ones.
I haven't seen the white ones. But see, Nelson Mandela did that in reverse. He called on the white athletes to have a social conscience.
And they did.
To help ease the racial divide.
Yeah.
He didn't go at it like they do here in America. He went after the source because that's where everybody knew the money was, from the base.
Yeah.
And so by Nelson Mandela's role, and displayed by the great Morgan Freeman, and that's how we cross Hollywood and acting together, is that you have to call on those who are in power.
Yes.
And the Springboks were in power in South Africa. And that's who he called on to ease the racial tension in South Africa, because at that time it was no different than what it is in America, when people were saying Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
They were saying that 20 years ago in South Africa, Charlton.
See, and that's the great thing. That's the great thing that you're talking about. It never takes a whole group of people to create change. It's always just a few intelligent people. And whether you're looking at Marcus Garvey, even if you're looking at Abe Lincoln, or someone like the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. or Mandela. And I'm calling for this social change in the world of sportscasting, because I understand that worldwide sports brings people together more than religion. And I know sometimes people think whenever something happens, let's all go pray. But most of the churches throughout the world, they're all segregated. It's as if they go to their own little fraternities and they worship their own God. Well, I see people that did not even like each other, would not even go to each other's church, but they would play together on the same sports team because you're looking at your teammate. And that's what I love about Charlton and Big C Sports. Now, I grew up watching ESPN. I think they came on the scene, Big C, back in 1983 out of Bristol, Connecticut. And then we have Fox Sports and ABC Sports and all these great companies out there. But what I still see that they lack is the Muhammad Ali consciousness. And instead of complaining about it, we decided to do it ourselves, Big C, because young men all over the world and women, if you want to do something, you got to understand that someone has to open a door for you. Well, how about let that person be you? Start your own program. I was listening to Les Brown, one of the greatest motivational speakers in the world, African-American man. And Les Brown specifically said, don't let people tear down your dreams. And don't listen to people who don't have what you want. Oftentimes, people want to give you advice, Big C, you know that. Sometimes it's not rude to say, okay, show me your own program. Show me your own show. If you want to give me advice, show me what you've already done. Don't tell me what somebody's thinking about. Show me your own product. And I'll never forget this, Big C. When I got started in the business, I met a gentleman by the name of Lewis Johnson with ABC Sports back in 1996. It was at a Stanford and Arizona State football game. And he said, start making your own tapes. Start practicing. Do your own craft. Pretend that you already have what you want to be. And that's how he started. He flew to New York City and met with an agent named by the Ralph Sindrich. And long story short, he's been on the air for about 20-some-odd years. And I'm telling everybody out there, if you want something, Big C, you have similar stories. You just got to go do it. No matter what color you are, what gender you are, you got to stop making excuses and realize that you're responsible for what happened in your life. And that includes sports, because that's how people come together, Big C. Your thoughts on that?
Well, that analogy, Charlton, lead by example or show me the example that you have. Suggestions are like keyholes, everybody's got one at their front door.
Yeah.
So, you have to be realistic when you're in any business. If you let people tell you what to say and what's the right, your career could be over by tomorrow night.
Yeah.
When you're realistic, you look at, but people want free thought.
Yeah.
When you look at sports, they want understanding. It's like when you're sitting here right now, Charlton, and you look at all these sports shows on television, and everybody's talking about training camp.
Yeah.
It takes me back to Allen Iverson. Practice? We're talking about practice. And that's what these guys are doing every day. They're telling you about practice. I remember after 3 years of playing, I didn't care about practice. Never showed up at training camp on time again. I did not care. Take the money.
Yeah.
Find me, okay? If I can get some days off early in the year, I didn't care because I knew I was going to have a job. If you cut me, somebody else would take me. If you trade me, I was going there anyway.
Yeah.
When you sit here and practice is the first and foremost thing in everybody's mind, there's nothing really going on. I mean, we'll have a practice game on Sunday with Green Bay and Indianapolis.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's practice. You're going to see the guys, third and fourth string play after the starters play the first 2, maybe 3 series in the game.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like a meaningless affair. It's just some elongated practice.
Yeah.
But you got to look at the nuts and bolts of the game, whether it's basketball, football, baseball. It's like I'm hearing already that, there's a beef with Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant.
Really?
How is there a beef? Because they haven't played together. But the media and the fascinating thing, and I know a lot of people that listen will say, well, you guys are always playing as racially biased cards. I never hear a beef between white players through the media. It's always the black players. Why is that?
Well,
why can't the blacks, they even try to create controversy with black athletes, Charlton?
Well, see, I think it would be the same thing if President Obama spoke the way Donald Trump speaks. They would really want to say that he's stepping outside of his he's stepping outside of his line. Who does he think he is, Big C?
Yeah.
And funny because even with the show Charlton and Big C Sports, I remember when we started at Salem Media just last year. It's a great program. Salem Media had about 150,000 reach in the Sacramento area. Took that station to #1 in the sports segment, and instead of giving us money, they gave us other obstacles to overcome. But that's what it is. But however, now we're finding ourselves on iHeartRadio, and what I want to say about iHeartRadio is it's a platform for intelligent talk. I despise the word dumb jock. Now, being of good size, the young men, especially men of color, oftentimes, and as you see the NFL kicking off, you'll see people being described about how they're athletically prowess on the field, how they're big, strong, and fast, and which might be true. But there's a lot of erudite and intelligent men, too. With Charlton and Big C Sports, I refuse to be just a team that reads, or the sports crew that reads off the score. The Giants beat the A's 6-5, or the Yankees beat the Red Sox, 7-3, and we'll have more on the bottom of the hour. I love what Ali talked about, having an Ali consciousness, and that's important as we bring in the world of sports. In our platform, Big C, I just want to tell people, go out and make things happen. And as I give you the sponsorship, go ahead and bring it up, Big C. This segment is sponsored by the California Lottery. What could a buck do for you? I'm telling you, Big C, I'm still upset because I've been itching so much in my hands. I thought I won that $478 million, but they said it was from New Hampshire. Now, were you in New Hampshire, Big C, over the past couple of days, Big C, and you just not telling me about it?
Well, no, I had some new ham, so we went to the hog and stuff.
Oh, okay.
We had new ham off of him.
Oh, okay, I understand.
But, when they talk about the dumb jock, okay, Charlton?
Yeah.
Who's the person saying the dumb jock? I mean, you look at Ryan Matthews, the defensive back in Arizona out of LSU, just signed a $65 million contract today, $40 million guaranteed over the next 4 years.
Wow.
So, when we look at these guys getting these huge contracts, who's dumb? So if you can go in and say that you're worth millions, tens of millions of dollars, and the guy said, okay,
take the money.
How dumb can you be? You show me in the corporate world, Charlton, when you say, hey, I'm not coming to work this week.
Yeah.
I'm not coming to work this month. I'm holding out. I want you to restructure my deal. This is where I'm paying at, and I want you to quadruple my contract.
Yeah.
What American would not love that scenario, Charlton, to be in a situation that these alleged dumb jocks are in, Charlton?
I'll take it.
You can hold out that you can hold out from going to work and have a job, not only have a job, but get your pay raise triple or quadruple.
Yep.
You know, any American in that scenario that we know about other than an athlete who's supposed to be in a league, all the jocks that we have are being abused are in college, okay?
Yeah.
And they're not dumb jocks, they're just young jocks.
Free labor. It's the free labor.
Free labor, you know, they've been told that, hey, you got to get an education.
Yeah.
Whether you graduate or not, you know, it all depends what kind of education you want.
Yes. You know, we talked about...
You know, these guys who are making millions of dollars, and you have the nerve to call them a dumb jock.
Yeah.
You need to look in the mirror and pick up the dictionary at the same time and see what dumb looks like.
Well, I know they were saying that Colin Kaepernick should turn down $12 million to go to Denver and take $6 million, as if anyone in their right mind would give up $6 million. But I also want to say this here, and I thank you for listening on the iHeartRadio every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're worldwide. Today is August the 2nd as we bring you Charlton and Big C Sports. And you know, Big C, I just want to bring this up too, because we talk so much about football and the consciousness of sports. And I do see ESPN and even Fox. I think Fox is becoming more progressive than ESPN. There's been a lot of top talent that has left the sports leader, quote unquote, to go over to Fox Sports. And I think a lot of their platform is becoming more like Charlton and Big C, where they're not just reading your scores. And I think that's changing the face of broadcast. And I want to bring this up too, because I'm looking for that $1 million sponsor from Phil Knight, who runs Nike Corporation. And you'll notice that most of the college football teams, they all have Nike, or they have Under Armour, or they have Adidas. But I'm telling you, there's another company on the scene too, and they're going to be really big in the sports scene, and that's G5 Textiles. Have a contract with them, having dinner tonight with that. And what we're doing is we can order for any sports team on the planet, any of your logos, any of your uniforms. We can help do that for you. So we want to compete with the guys. It's like lead, follow, or get out of the way. We want to compete with everyone. Your sports teams from high school to college and professional, we want to compete to help order your logos. And you can put out the Charlton Big C Sports and follow us on the iHeartRadio network. So Big C, as I get into this next segment here, I want to bring up some of the great announcers. You look at guys like Jim Nantz or Nick Faldo, or you look at people like, you know, Peter Christus and also Vernon Lindquist, some of the great golfer announcers out there in the world, Ian Fitch. But I'm telling you, this is what I don't see. I don't see with all their power how they're doing much to leave the world any different than just cashing the paycheck. And I like these guys very much so, but I'm not afraid to say what I think because we have our own program. I hope that all the great corporations in the United States, the Fortune 500 companies, I hope that when our days are over, we can kind of be more like a Howard Cosell. What can we do as a collective brethren in the media to get young people to think like an entrepreneur? When people talk about the economy's down and people talk about the economy, we need more jobs here. We know that corporations ship jobs overseas. I'm saying to guys like Phil Knight, yeah, we asked for the $1 million sponsorship. You're worth $27 million. But the reason I'm asking for that is I challenge you to put Charlton and Big C Sports up against any program in the country that talks about opening opportunities for young kids of all colors. We know primarily inner city kids are heavily recruited, Big C. Could you imagine if Nike or Under Armour or Reebok or even G5 Textiles, if they were to start giving computers to inner city kids or even rural kids and teaching kids to become entrepreneurs, learning how to trade the stock market when they have more money and more intelligence, that makes them a better athlete because it makes them contributors to the economy, Big C. That's what sports shows should do because most sports shows, they actually connect people. Big C, you brought that to my mind. Your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, when you look at these sports broadcasting shows out there right now, Charlton, they're only concentrated on one thing.
The score.
And speed.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, sports is more than height and speed. You know, the biggest thing about a sports program, Charlton, is that they never talk about the cerebralness or the intelligence of the players.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at the processing, what a player has to go through, whether it's looking at a baseball coming out of the pitcher's hand at 0.85 seconds reaching home plate.
Yeah.
Whether it's a quarterback making an adjustment at the line of scrimmage because he's recognized the defensive change. But Charlton, even more so, think about the players on defense when they have to make an adjustment to what they've seen offensively, how intelligent that they are. You know, so even basketball players, just through visual recognition of what each other are doing, understanding and have a full comprehension of the game. And so when we talk about the intelligence of athletes, Charlton, it's there. But it's one of the things that they never want to talk about on the sports shows. They don't want to talk about the intelligence of these guys. As we open up, people want to label them as a dumb jock that can only put on a jock strap and sweat.
Yeah.
But these guys, there are a lot of businessmen that are involved in the game of professional sports. They've prepped themselves for life after basketball. But as we talked about, they're businessmen when they're signing these contracts because these are huge. And, the average American would love to be in that financial category.
Well, I would love to be in that financial category also, Big C. So Uncle Phil Knight, you heard Big C said $1 million is nothing but a tax write-off. But the point of what we're saying too is we want to encourage every person, especially if you're an entrepreneur. There's tremendous advantages to being self-employed. If you can go out and help create a better environment from the young people. And Big C, ironically, we've been talking about this, okay? And I know sometimes you wonder when we talk about things, they actually come up. Guess what was in the Associated Press today? Big Papi will make calls to sleepy students, having them wake up and get to class on time. Now, he plays for the Boston Red Sox. I don't know why he's retiring, because he's one of the hottest players in baseball right now. But when you have Big Papi following what Charlton and Big C are doing, he's reaching out to high school kids because that's the future for the United States. And when you think about the computer companies out there, a lot of them can't hire kids from America because we don't have the computer literacy. They have to get kids from India and China. Now, outside of Charlton Big C Sports telling guys like Phil Knight or even Warren Buffett, if you're a wealthy person, if you're a Fortune 500 company, think about what the Ali Center received, $500 million from the UPS Corporation. What can Brown do for you? So now when Charlton and Big C Sports are talking about giving back to kids, it's just a coincidence that Big Papi from the Boston Red Sox is doing the same things, telling kids to take school more seriously. They can do that, but when people like Phil Knight or Warren Buffett give computers because it's just a tax write-off, that helps bring our economy up, Big C. So we're on to something, and now more and more athletes are trying to follow suit. So Big C, just like Jim Brown and Harry Edwards and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I want to credit you because you're the one who talked about this. Now I'm seeing multi-million-dollar athletes quoting this stuff in the Associated Press. Your thoughts, Big C?
Well, Charles, there's a social consciousness and awareness in a lot of people out there in the world of sports. We got to get corporate America to have that same thing and be open about it.
Yeah.
You can't be that secret donor saying, hey, I'm going to give you some money. Make it voiced. Hold a press conference.
Yeah.
Saying I'm donating this to this organization to help. Because I know it's a great need for it, and it's going to benefit thousands of kids, throughout America, where they'll have a chance for a better future. And they won't just have to rely on sports. Even though sports is a lifeline for many people, Charlton, but it's less of a lifeline than the corporate world is.
Yeah.
So if we can guide these young athletes, these young people, into the education realm, where they're looking at 10 to 20 years down the road instead of 2 to 3 years down the road in life preparation, you have an injury, your career can be over in one play.
And you know what?
When you're playing sports. It's like, to talk about training camp as the NFL is starting to kick off, Charlton. Everybody's talking about training camp. What is there in training camp to talk about? What's the exciting things? You're looking at each other across from each other every day, the same guys that you're sitting across from the lunch and dinner table with, okay?
Yeah.
So to have great highlights, there's no highlights. You got guys playing catch. That's what you have. You have guys with block and drill.
Block and drill.
There's no game going on. There's no excitement in training camp, and no veteran wants to be there.
Yeah, and that's part.
I didn't want to be there. I would take a fine not to go to training camp. Didn't care.
That might have been the moonshine, Big C. Sometime when you have too much of that stuff, they say you don't care about too many things. But also, speaking of moonshine, this final segment is sponsored by United Labor Insurance, guaranteed $100,000 life insurance policy with no medical questions. And I'm a broker with United Labor. We are also endorsed by the American Cancer Society and the American Heart Association. And we've endorsed all the unions in the United States under the AFL-CIO. We can insure you up to $100,000, no medical questions. And I'm also doing what I'm asking Phil Knight to do. I'm looking to hire 1,000 brokers in the United States, 1,000 licensed brokers that want to offer insurance to the unions that's guaranteed. Also, Goosehead Property and Casualty. We beat about 98% of the companies when it comes to a quote. Shoot out to Charlton and Big C Sports. We want to help insure America and also put people back to work. Now, Big C, you brought up this training camp thing. One of my favorite football players is Reggie Bush, and he's now signed with the Bills. They've had O.J. Simpson. Now they had Reggie Bush out of the great USC, and we know USC is getting ready to knock off Alabama. But I look about, we talk about his 10-year career. Now, this is Reggie Bush that was with the 49ers. He also played with New Orleans. But he's a guy that was All-American, actually won a Heisman Trophy at USC under Pete Carroll. And this is for you young kids, okay? This is one of the most dominant athletes in the history of the Pac-12 football. And he's been bounced around from place to place. But you want to know something. Reggie Bush has money, but he also has an education, and that's important to young people. So even if you think you're great, okay, you have one of the greatest athletes to ever come out of the Pac-12 conference. You have some great guys that played there. But you got to have your money. You got to have your education intact. If you don't have that, Big C, they have to know that there's no guarantee when you play for a team. They will get rid of you because they can. So when you talk about the importance of sticking with the books and having an education behind you and also being an entrepreneur, that's important. We're coming up on the Hall of Fame game induction. And everyone's talking about Brett Favre, Big C. I know he's one of the greatest quarterbacks out there. But even with that, Brett Favre, he's made commercials. He's had a life after football. We talked about the late, great Kenny Stabler. They're talking about Ed DeBartolo, who was one of the greatest owners of the NFL franchise, San Francisco 49ers, Tony Dungy, Kevin Green, Marvin Harrison, Orlando Pace. Your thoughts on some of the Hall of Fame nominations coming up, Big C. What's it mean to you, and who do you think is going to get in?
Well, Charlton, when you talk about the people going into the Hall of Fame, they're pillars of the NFL community.
Yeah.
They played the game right. They represented their team. But even more so, Charlton, was their lives off the field.
Yeah.
They did not leave on a police blogger, being in trouble. These are the guys who represented the shield. They protected the shield. And that's what the Hall of Fame is all about when you think about these players, the great Kenny Stabler, who passed away a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Orlando Pace, a huge hulking offensive tackle out of Ohio State that played with the St. Louis Rams for a decade. And everybody knows of the exploits of the great Brett Favre, Charlton. When you think about his career, starting off at Southern Mississippi, being drafted by the Atlanta Falcons in the second round, and being traded for a cup of coffee to Green Bay. Ron Wolf made a steal.
Ice coffee, too.
He went on and had this illustrious career with the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Didn't end favorably there, went to the New York Jets, played a year, ended up back in Minnesota with the Vikings, where he led the Vikings within a couple plays of making the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But you think about it, he played the game the way he wanted to play the game. He went out and gave it his all every play.
Yeah.
Whether he was hurt, whether he was healthy. That's what professional sports is, Charlton. Anybody can have a hangnail and take a day off, especially if you're a baseball player. But in the NFL, after one game, nobody's healthy, Charlton.
Yeah.
Everybody is hurt. You're not healthy anymore. So to understand what these players had to put into the game over the time that they played, Charlton, you have to admire them. But, even more so, you talk about these guys having educations after the game.
Yeah.
Their lives have not been a struggle from retirement, Charlton. You talk about Brett's commercials. Orlando Pace has done a lot of social activist work and community affairs.
Yeah.
When you look at that, Kenny Stabler was huge down there in Alabama.
Yeah.
And so these players understood life after the game, Charlton, and prepped themselves for it. The money 10 years ago, 20 years ago was not what the money is now.
Right.
So you made your money and you saved your money as an athlete. Now a lot of them just toss it away, but kudos to all of those guys going into the Hall of Fame. Much respect, great careers. Love every one of them.
Yeah, and I also want to say, too, that this final segment is sponsored by One Life America Life Insurance Company. I'm a broker with One Life America. We offer a final expense to the United States of America, and we're the leaders in the country when it comes to final expense. We're also coming out with a program that has no medical checkups no medical questions for your final expense. And I'm also looking to hire 1,000 life insurance brokers throughout the country to offer life insurance to help Americans protect their families. And also, this segment is brought to you by BeneathHisWingsFoundation.org. Make a donation today. It's easy, it's fast, and secure. When it comes to promotions, contact Cynthia Evans of CYNN Entertainment. When it comes to promotions, she's the best in Northern California. And finally, I want to thank Becca Wright, the business cupid, helping connect us with the world of the UFC. And we're also looking at getting Dana White on the program coming up in the fall. But Big C, as I close this program today, I do want to say, like, we are one of the hottest programs when it comes to the sports shows, and we always say, welcome to the show. Now I hear guys on ESPN saying, welcome to the show. I hear guys on Fox Sports saying, welcome to the show. They used to just say, welcome to the radio station. So I appreciate the brethren that we have where we can all learn from each other. But I would be remiss if I ended our program without saying this, because it's near and dear to me. We talked about the thing with Black Lives Matter. Well, all lives matter. And we had LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony and Chris Paul, and also there was another guy that stood up, I think it was Dwayne Wade, and they were talking about, say something to young people about stop the violence in our communities. But we know people need jobs, Big C. No matter what color they are, they need jobs. And I want to be a contributor to that. So when you listen to Charlton and Big C Sports, I want to encourage people to read 60 minutes a day. I'm not trying to preach to you. I'm just saying what I see young people needing is what I got when I was a young boy. My neighbors, they would tell me, hey, behave yourself. Hey, pull your pants up. Hey, don't use profanity in front of women. See, some of those things we might take for granted because it really helped shape a lot of young people, Big C. I know in my generation, it was okay for your neighbors to say something to you, and your parents, when it got back to them, they actually did not mind you being admonished by your neighbors. So I want to say to all the athletes out here, and Big Poppy, I appreciate you telling kids to stay in school. I want to make sure, whether it's Phil Knight giving Charlton and Big C Sports $1 million to sponsor our program, or Under Armour, or Adidas, or G5 Textiles, I want to make sure that we have a social consciousness to reach back to the younger generation and tell them about being entrepreneurs. And I want to leave with this, Big C. Silicon Valley is one of the wealthiest counties actually the wealthiest areas of the world, especially in the United States. It's in the south part of the Bay Area. There's more wealth there than any area of the United States, even the Hamptons, Big C. Most of those kids that go to those schools in the Silicon Valley, they go and they study computers and math and science. They don't study how to get bigger, stronger, and faster, so they're less likely to be exploited by these college universities. Now, college is great, but don't be a locust when you go in and you only come out with nothing but an athlete. Leave something behind. I think I would have all the schools think about leaving computers behind, either for the school that you recruited kid or for that family, because America's hope is to have our generation lead the world in computers, science, and math, Big C. And with the help of Charlton and Big C Sports, that's a legacy I want to leave, Big C. Your thoughts on that?
Well, Charlton, if you look at the technology in sports now, all athletes on all professional teams are given iPads to view videotape. I remember when we had the Super 8 film. You had to click it forward, click it back. Now everything is instantaneously downloaded. When you leave out of the locker room, your iPad is already uploaded with the latest information.
Yeah.
And so this destroys the myth of the dumb doubt, Charlton, because they're sitting there working on these computers all the time. You carry them with you. There's no longer this huge hulking notebook that has 300 pages in it of plays. It's all on an iPad, and you can communicate with your coaches through the iPad and everything. So the intelligence of an athlete in the foregoing and growth of professional sports, some colleges, the wealthy colleges, have that also, Charlton. But when we look at helping the young athlete get to that point, Charlton, prior to becoming a professional or hoping to become a professional, if we teach them how to be technologically advanced, as you spoke about the high school kids in Silicon Valley, how they are all technologically advanced. They're not sitting there worried about the game on Friday night. They're worried about the test on Monday morning. That's what they're worried about. And we need to get American society, as great as sports is, sports, as we talked about in the beginning of the show, Charlton, when we talked about Addicted, the movie with the great Morgan Freeman and Matt Damon about the late Nelson Mandela. How he took sports to bring a country together to ease racial tension. And that's what all the sports teams in America have. They have the opportunity to ease racial tensions. Go back and look at the blueprint of the late Nelson Mandela of how he took the sports and took one of probably the most racially divided country in the world.
Apartheid,
and made it one. of sports, Charlton.
Well, Big C, I'm telling you, with the iHeartRadio network, I never want to be known as a sycophant jock or a guy that's just a talking head reading a script. We do it extemporaneously. We speak from our heart. And I just want to say to everyone out there, become an entrepreneur. Find a way to reach out and give somebody hope. And if you can't get it elsewhere, learn to listen to Charlton Big C Sports. I'm asking our brethren at NBC Sports, ESPN, Fox Sports, ABC, CBS, doesn't matter who you are. If you're a sports program, let's find a way to reach out and give back to our inner city kids and our rural area kids. Let's teach them math and science. Let's teach them to be more than just a jock. And you can learn that every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Charlton Big C Sports. I want to tell you that we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.